Hi guys and girls, I'm Obsidian Ant and welcome to 3303. This is where I take a look at the news and happenings in and around Elite Dangerous. Today we take a look at some of Frontier's ideas of what a potential karma system might look like, our player groups soon to get mega ships, and someone has found something rather interesting to do with comets. Ever since the first days of Elite Dangerous, players have actively discussed a potential karma system. For the most part, Frontier have remained silent on this, but recently lead designer Sandro Samarco has discussed a possible karma system. Now, as with everything that Frontier talk about in this manner, this doesn't count as confirmation of a karma system, it's just throwing ideas out there. Now, what is a karma system for? Well, the aim of a karma system is to dissuade actions such as malicious docking ramming, using a high-end ship to kill new players, as well as to discourage combat login, and of course many other things like that essentially ruin people's gameplay. And just to be clear, this isn't a crime and punishment system, so it's nothing to do with piracy or preventing PvP. Those things would still carry on as they currently are. So essentially a karma system is about preventing abuse or trolling. So some ideas that Frontier put out there would be that potentially a karma system would have both positive and negative aspects. So as a player performs any negative actions, their karma would decrease towards the negative end of the scale. The idea is that negative actions would also accrue over time. So for instance, if you were flying through the docking slot and you crashed at too high speed into another person's ship, you would take a very minor karma hit for that. After all, accidents do happen, and probably more or less everyone has done this at one point or another. Now, if you went on to do it 5 more times or 10 more times, for example, then on each hit after that, you might start taking a major karma hit. So what this means is that the game would be watching you, and over time it would build up a picture to determine what type of player you are. And this really is the important part, because it means that the game wouldn't then start punishing you for simple accidents or simple slips. Another good example is combat login. It's quite possible that a player would have a network disconnection even at the most critical time of being interdicted or just about to be destroyed. The suggestion from Frontier is that the game would perhaps possibly see the first slip or the first network drop as just one of those things, but if it happens again after that, you might start taking minor karma hits, and if the combat login persists, then it's quite possible you'll start taking major karma hits. So, like I say, do keep in mind that these are all just suggestions from Frontier at the moment. There's no guarantee that they're going to actually put this in the game, but it does seem that they may well be working on a system at least similar to this one. So what are Frontier's ideas that would happen to a player who has extremely low karma? Well, again, that would be a sliding scale with punishments going from the relatively minor to the pretty dramatic. Now, Frontier have also said they'd like to keep all punishments in-game. They don't want to start to resort into out-of-game punishments such as account banning. So in-game punishments might include the removal of docking privileges, for example. Another idea is to start increasing the rebuy cost of your ship, with a theoretical limit of having to pay a full 100% rebuy cost. Frontier also said that both the effect on karma as well as the punishments themselves could apply differently depending on the type of system you're in. So if you're in a lawless or anarchy system, for example, the effect might be greatly reduced. Now, all the suggestions and ideas from Frontier do make for some interesting reading. So if you want to hear more about this or learn more about it, then do check out the link in the video description below. It will take you to a Reddit thread where all the information has been collated together. There was a rather monumental revelation this week in the form of an upcoming community goal. Now, this is a community goal for the player group Canonn Research. Now, the community goal is nothing less than to provide Canonn with their very own megaship. The community goal is going to begin on the 11th of May, so that's this week. They usually run for a full week, and any players that actively get involved and help out will also be rewarded with a Canonn Research logo that they'll be able to apply to their ship. Now, there's one very other interesting comment in the announcement from Canonn, and that's that the megaship will initially be placed within the Pleiades sector. Initially here being a very key word, because it implies that the megaship will be able to be moved. So this community goal would also seem to indicate that player group owned megaships are likely to become a thing in the future. In addition to the possibility of being a mobile base, it could also have profound implications for the background simulation, especially as, from what we've seen so far, megaships come with factions as well as various faction stays. So the possibility could be there for megaships to be moved to certain systems, allowing that faction to potentially seed there or even sow discord. Now, whether or not megaships can actually be moved is something that's open to interpretation at the moment and pure speculation, but based upon the announcement in the Canonn research thread on the community goal, it seems very, very likely. So I guess we'll see more on this over time, and hopefully there'll be opportunity for many other player groups to get their own megaship as well. The 6th generation ship, the Pleione, has now been found. It remains unknown just how many megaships are actually out there, but such a discovery is now becoming a rather regular occurrence. Now, as with all the others, this comes with its very own story that is completely voice acted, and if you do want to head out that way, then the details are in the video description below. Now also, there is a YouTube video that you can go and check the logs if you don't fancy going there, and then you can hear all the story for yourself. The video has been put up by VentureFox, and what I found really interesting about the story here, and I'll try not to spoil it too much, is that the missing could potentially be more than generation ships. It may well be that there's also colonies out there somewhere. Now, speaking of things that are out there, Commander Isinona has found some rather interesting details. Now, their find is entirely about comets. Comets have been in the game right since day one as far as we know, but the graphical assets for them do not exist. They exist merely as data points within the Stellar Forge generation system. However, that said, whilst flying around in the Parago system, Isinona saw a nav point come up for a comet. Now, how he discovered this was that the station he was near seemed to be orbiting a non-existent point. So he tried to travel towards the centre of this orbiting ring, and what he found there was this comet reference. It seems you can drop out there, although it does take a little bit of doing. Unfortunately, when you do that, there is nothing there. Nonetheless, the location was able to be found with the help of Commander Osric, as well as a millstone barn. Now, a very old comment from Frontier dating right back to 2015 says that there's always been stations in the game which have actually been orbiting comets. Now, of course, it's a bit sad to see that these comets are still not physically in the game, but nonetheless, this is a pretty great find. If you want to read the entire story, then check out the link in the video description below. Isinona has returned with another great video. This one is called Hydrated. Now, in this video, Isinona takes on SDC as well as Harry Potter to rather dramatic effect. Another interesting video out there is one from Canonn Research. Now, in this, Canonn have taken to the Maya system in Hunt of Aliens. Many of you will know now that there are distress calls out there, although they take quite some time to find. But if you're lucky and you do get one of them, you'll jump in there to find an instance full of, well, destroyed Federation ships. And not only that, you're also about to see a fleeing alien vessel. Whether or not the alien vessel has actually done this damage is open to speculation, but my impression is that they have indeed done it. Both the Isinona video as well as the Canonn video can be seen in the links in the video description. That then brings us to an end of this episode of 3303. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys and girls next time.